Welcome back to New Rockstars. Daredevil Born Again is coming to Disney Plus March 2025 with trailer footage shown at Disney's Upfronts event this week, and we are breaking it down. It's actually looking like a season 4 of the Netflix series, and when asked why they made this change, Feige's like, I did it because I liked it. Hell, I loved it.
This is the sneak peek to Rockstars weekly show that looks at the future of fandom. Today we're talking about Daredevil Born Again's trailer footage. I'm Jessica Clemons. I have things under my eyes because I'm tired. I bet you guys didn't know that I also have a baby like Erik. And here with me today,
Breaking news.
Here with me today is the baby, Erik Voss.
Oh, I'm the baby. I see. See, I jumped the gun. I got so excited. I was like, play dates.
I wish.
Oh,
I wish.
New Rockstars babies new Rockstars. Because Zach has a kid, Joshua has a kid, I have a kid, and we need to just like make them all friends so that they can host a podcast.
Yeah, it's just us doing breakdowns of Rachel, that woman that sings on YouTube. I love her. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're gonna know what I'm talking about.
It's gonna be a very big part of my life.
You're gonna know what I'm talking about soon.
Yeah, I'll know. Oh God, we're doing the thing where I talk about being a parent and it pisses off everyone on YouTube because they're like, I don't want to think about real life and family building.
I'm thinking about it because I wish I was. Instead, my cat is too busy scratching up my screen trying to attack the birds where I just got a bird feeder for. Because there's birds and a nest next to my window, so I bought a bird feeder and now my cat climbs the screen.
Oh no.
At least your baby will grow out of it. My cat will never stop this.
I don't know what's going to happen with that baby. The House of the Dragon video, that baby's on my lap. I'm feeding the baby the whole time and talking about what happens in Fire and Blood. Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about Daredevil. Are we back on the road to Born Again? We get asked that all the time. Erik and Jessica, when are you going to go back to break it down all the episodes of Daredevil Born Again? Well, now we're getting closer to it, folks. We have a finish line timeline. And at some point, as soon as we get a trailer, I'll call it now. As soon as we get a trailer for Born Again, Jessica and I will resume our Daredevil breakdown series. We'll do it. We'll get back to it.
It's fun.
I miss it. I miss talking about Daredevil. And now, more than ever, after watching this press conference and hearing about what's in the footage, we're like, we have to go back through all the episodes because it's not its own thing. They are pretty much doing a season 4 of the Netflix show. So let's talk about it. Marvel unveiled this footage from Daredevil Born Again at the Disney Upfronts. And this is the event that they do annually for TV advertisers. Or they're like, it's like an auction. They're like, well, you like this show? And they're like, yeah, I guess we'll advertise energy drinks on that. They showed the new series logo. It includes Marvel Television as a banner over it, a New York skyline that did not include Avengers Tower, which is frustrating. Jessica, you and Evan and John talked about this on the break room in the past week. I highly recommend everyone go watch that break room episode because you guys did a good job fielding a lot of questions that people were having as that news is coming out. But since then, IGN has come out with this description of what the trailer footage was. So here's what they have in their article. It says, the new trailer, which has not been released as a publication, shows Matt Murdock donning the iconic Daredevil suit while narrating that the entire system is against you. It's often Davis versus Goliath. And I think that was a misprint. I
100%.
think they meant David versus Goliath. But we did have some fun on Slack this week speculating that maybe Davis could be that one Davis character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and that he's suing Goliath, Lawrence Fishburne's character from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and that there's this big feud with this S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is mad at Goliath for like stepping on his house or something like that.
It is David and Goliath.
It is David
and Goliath. No
one
one would know what it is if it's Davis versus Goliath.
Unless you're an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, and this is finally confirming Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon, which we know it always was.
Oh my God, all 15% of us. I liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I recognize when things are gone.
I did too. And I think it's now, let's just make it canon. Let's get a season 8 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what fucking Secret Invasion should have been. It should have just been a season 8 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Should have had Coulson's life model decoy in there. You could have had Quake in there. It would have been great. It would have been better than what we got. Okay, just because no comment.
But it's not what we got. It's not what we got.
So this Daredevil trailer also includes some glimpses of Kingpin, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page. Both of those characters are confirmed for the show. And I'm, excited about Deborah Ann Wool. And then at the end of the trailer, following a brief action sequence, Murdoch is asked, what kind of lawyer are you? And then he goes, a really good one. And he puts on a broken pair of his red tinted glasses. So he's fighting someone not as Daredevil, but as Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock is roughing someone up. He doesn't care if people think Matt Murdock's ready to throw down. That's what I love about it. It's not just Daredevil. We know Daredevil's not afraid of a fight, but Matt Murdock is like, I don't care who sees the bruises on my face anymore.
Does he know that the glasses are broken?
I think he would know. I think he would know. And I think that's just like, he's not afraid of a broken piece of glass getting in his eye because he's not using those anyway.
I imagine that description was just one lens was out. And it was a little, you could, like, the other one's tinted and he just goes, a really good one. And you could just see the one eye.
Oh, that'd be fun. Like an eye patch?
Like an eye patch. But it might just be just a perfect crack.
See, maybe I'm just mixing up Jubilee in the X-Men 97 finale where she puts those shades back down. I want to be like, Jubilee, you're going to get a broken piece of whatever that is in your eye. You don't have to lower the shades. It's dangerous.
He's like, I already got like acid in it.
So let's talk about everything we know. Just to recap, catch everyone up on the same page. The production of this show needs to be its own documentary of what exactly happened in the development of Daredevil Born Again. We know the confirmed cast, right? Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio coming back. Late last year, John Bernthal, Frank Castle, Punisher is coming back on the show too. And we've since seen set photos of him all bloodied up, looking great. We know that Margarita Levieva is playing Heather Glenn, who's Matt's love interest, who is a character from the comics whose father is like a very interesting character. Michael Gandolfini, James's son, who we saw in The Many Saints of Newark, is going to be playing Daniel Blade. Janaea Walton is playing BB Urich, who's probably Ben Urich's offspring. Deborah Ann Wool and Eldon Henson are coming back to play their characters. And then, as well as, this is one of the more recent additions, Wilson Bethan playing Ben Poindexter, Bullseye, is coming back. And Ayelet Zurer is playing Vanessa Fisk, who is replacing Sandrine Holt, also a great actress. She was brought in to be, the early version of the show's Vanessa Fisk. But now they're like, no, it's just going to be a season 4. We're getting Ayelet Zurer back. No. She's going to be the Vanessa Fisk that we left season 3 with.
Yeah, she's great also. She's perfect. I love her.
Also good.
She was a great Vanessa.
They just clearly want this to be a continuation of the continuity from the Netflix era, despite the fact that originally that was not going to be the plan for the show. So July 2022, this was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. They're like, we're going to do 18 episodes of this. Cox and D'Onofrio were like, yep, we're doing it. And then March 2023, production for the old version of the show began. It was going to be show-runned by Matthew Corman and Chris Ord. 6 of the 18 episodes ended up getting filmed, and it was going to be a major divergence from what we remember from the Netflix era of the show. It was going to have a more of an episodic structure, maybe like a trial of the week. And Cox reportedly was not going to appear in the Daredevil suit until episode 4 of that version of the show. It looked like, based off of set photos, that they were going to do a new Matt Murdock origin story. But then came September 2023 and Marvel Studios freaked the fuck out. They decided that they're going to do a creative overhaul of the show to make Daredevil Born Again more like the Netflix series. This was in September 2023. There was like a Palm Springs retreat where they were freaking out about Quantumania's performance, about what was going to be happening with the Marvels, about Jonathan Majors. They brought in Dario Scardapane, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. He was a writer from the Netflix Punisher to be the new showrunner. And then they brought in directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who directed most of the episodes of Loki Season 2 and directed Moon Knight. And they're going to direct the remaining episodes. And then instead of 18 episodes, it looks like they're going to do 2 seasons, 9 episodes each. And they finished all 9 of those. So that's at this point when they brought back Bullseye and Ayelet Zur's version of Vanessa. We know what's going to happen with Kingpin based off of the end of Echo. He's running for mayor, and that's going to be a big part of this show. So based off of what we know from this footage, I wanted to ask you, Jessica, do you think that this mayoral campaign by Wilson Fisk is going to connect to the events of Captain America Brave New World, which is now coming out just a month before this March 2025 release of Daredevil Born Again? And will it connect to the Thunderbolts?
I think it'll connect more to the Thunderbolts than it would to Brave New World. The only reason I don't think it's going to connect too much to Brave New World is because we know that it's going to be Red Hulk. And I think we're now trying to split up our grounded content for Marvel. And I think that's going to be the political grounded content, while what's happening in Hell's Kitchen is Hell's Kitchen, New York grounded content. And that's where I think that can intersect with the Thunderbolts. Because I think a lot of what Daredevil is going to be about is if Kingpin is going for mayor, that means there's a lot of territory that's up for free reign from other kingpins or other gangs. And those are the people that are going to start coming out of the woodworks in New York and causing a lot of chaos. And I think the White House doesn't care about New York like that. The White House is like, as long as it stays in New York, the New York superheroes can fight that. Vigilantes can fight that. But I do think at some point, if somehow the Jerseyness from Miss Marvel, but also we get Kate Bishop that intersects with Yelena from Thunderbolts, that's the closest I can get to it, I think. A lot of gangs coming out of New York still is dangerous because, I mean, it might just be like Hammerhead or whatever, but it still will be guys that can do a lot of damage.
I like that idea of Kate Bishop showing up and then having like the Young Avengers as we saw them at the end of the Marvels. I mean, just to have Haley Steinfeld and Iman Vellani showing up on this show, do you think that like part of the creative overhaul was like Kevin Feige admitting like, we're stretching ourselves too thin. Let's make every episode of Daredevil Born Again count. Let's make the dream version of this that Marvel fans ultimately want. And does that mean we have a lot more cameos to some of these other Young Avengers characters and Dark Avengers characters?
I think it's more so that they know we're kind of betting if we change the entire origin and just did our own weird thing to Netflix's Daredevil. I think going with what Netflix's Daredevil already had, making this just a 4th season and extension, is just a safe bet, especially after Quantumania and the Marvels and everything else. They're like, this is safe. Everybody likes the Netflix Marvel stuff. Let's just give them the Netflix Marvel stuff on our dime. And so they're just doing that. I don't think if they do those cameos, it won't be large. I think the only large one might be Echo. I think if Haley is brought up or Miss Marvel's brought up, it's going to be like them talking and being like, oh, well, there's a kid in Jersey that's taking over or that's defeating this guy. So we're fine over there. But remember that we have over here. Like, that's the only part I think will be a cameo. And that's also great. That deters from what Marvel likes to do, which is shove a bunch of cameos into their stuff. And then we're like, okay, great. Now what? This is just like, let's let him do his thing. Yeah.
I think what the Netflix era did really well is they referenced the events of like the Battle of New York, but like they didn't make it, they kind of addressed like the thematic side of what would happen in the aftermath of New York and the real estate wars that would happen, the property control, corruption. That's what was so good about Daredevil season 1. So that's what I hope they do in this season 4. Let's just start calling it season 4, right?
I don't mind calling it season 4 and I hope they don't take offense to it. I loved all season 1 through 3 of Daredevil. And if you're making it season 4, I'm going to fucking love it. So
I guess if they want to call it Born Again, it will be like X-Men 97 is essentially season 6 of the X-Men animated series, right? Yes. Spiritually, it's just a continuation of that story, and let's lean into it. And I think like they can address the fact that, hey, remember there was a giant arrow in the middle of the bridge? Yeah. Like the events of like the previous Christmas or whatever 2 Christmases ago. They should like talk about it and use proper nouns, because back on the Netflix version, they would have to call it like the big green guy, the guy with the hammer, and like let's just call him Thor and Hulk.
Well, they can now, and maybe that is the only thing that they're going to take from entering the MCU right now is like, oh, when we talk about something, we're going to use the actual terminology you guys use, but it's still the Netflix Daredevil.
But real quick, we want to take a moment to shout out Hovscope for sponsoring this video and show you all a short film by The Break Room called We Don't Stream on Tuesdays. Check it out.
Hello? Oh, hey, I was just calling. Tom Holland just tweeted that he has a special announcement happening today.
Oh, that sounds pretty big. Man, do I have time to get my special lunch?
Yeah, maybe if you hurry.
It's even got a foldable frame.
Oh yeah, this bad boy goes 19 miles an hour. It's got a 35-mile range. The battery's got a 6-hour charge, and When it gets dark out, a little light automatically comes on the front to keep you safe.
It's all great, but is it fast enough for me to get my special lunch?
Yes, Evan, it's fast enough for you to get your special lunch.
Huddleston has a ton of e-bikes, perfect for every occasion. Right now, you can save $50 on the Porto Max that Evan was riding, or get a city e-bike for $999 or two for $1,499. Just click the link in the description or go to hovsco.com/Rockstars to get started. Do you think that like the Skyline logo not having Avengers Tower is kind of a clue to the fact like it's gonna be like the Daredevil you remember, which never showed Avengers Tower, and that means depriving us of Avengers Tower?
That's funny. I think genuinely with that design, they probably got 1 million designs created from their designers, and they were like, let's go with this one. And I'm 100% sure every designer was like, we're gonna leave out Avengers Tower. We're gonna leave it out for now. You guys can add it if you want in post, but for now we're gonna leave it out.
You know what I think it is, Jess? I think the Feige's back in control of the ship. I think he was trying to play nice and delegate and stretch himself really thin, and he overtrusted some of his execs. And I think some of these projects got a little unwieldy. But if you remember back in phase 3, every project that came out of the slate from Marvel basically gave fans the fan service they wanted and gave us a couple curveballs and surprises. And then that's what really solidified Marvel's juggernaut brand of like, we just like hit after hit after hit. And then we got away from that in phase 4 because they were trying to be experimental. And I think now they're like, you know what? No, we want to do the safe route. And just like, so I think that means Avengers Tower. Avengers Tower, I think, is most emblematic of that confusion because they were like, we're gonna, keep people guessing on what happened with Avengers Tower. But now they're like, you know what? No, we're just gonna make it the Baxter Building. We're good. It'll just be the Baxter Building.
That's fine. I think it raises too many questions. It's like the book of time for Marvel that they came out with, how they're like, oh, there's hiccups, but it's because Miss Minute spilled coffee on it. They can't do that for the MCU. They're just,
oh shit. Oh,
she's like, gosh, damn it. There I go again. Well, now you'll never understand if it's the Baxter Building. Now you'll never know. She just looks at us. Now you'll never know. I think that's just it, and I get it. I guess it's just like out of fear, but also no one's just answering the question. Someone needs to sit down, do the math, and make an actual like informed decision on it, but no one's going to right now. They're like, we got bigger fish to fry. And I'm like, eventually you guys are gonna have to answer this. And it's gonna be a lot of math and a lot of you in a room yelling at each other and looking at different Bibles for different movies.
Just take your time with it. That's why I also kind of like, I was excited about an 18 episode Daredevil Born Again season just because that's the type of shows I grew up with, like 24 and Lost. Like, yeah, we lived with this for a year, but now quality control. Let's just do 9 episodes and make every episode count. No filler. Yeah. And you said bigger fish to fry. I'm thinking about the bigger fisks to fry. I'm sorry, I'll leave. All right.
Throw yourself through that blue screen.
Bye.
Throw yourself through it. Drag your feather yourself. Dice yourself into quarters. Disappear.
Oh no, I accidentally spit on it.
Ew.
Oh, shit.
Why would you do? First off, why are you spitting on it?
Because I went. I did a ripping sound effect, but now how is Josh gonna key it out behind me?
That's on you. I
gotta always stand here.
Yeah.
Shit.
That's on you having a too
I
wet of a
ruined
mouth.
Every new Rockstars video now.
Oh my God, Erik, just put your big old noggin in front of it. You're fine.
I'm sorry.
Oh, stop looking at it. They're gonna keep showing it.
It's there though.
Do you want me to do it to this one? So you're not alone?
Don't. We need a backup now.
Can't you just? It's a roll. Can't you just pull it down?
I don't want to retape it. I don't have time.
The consequences of your actions.
Okay. Well, and I'm turning around a lot so everyone can see how bad my haircut is.
Stop, dude. What is wrong with you today? Stop this.
I'm tired.
Stop touching your hair. Stop spitting on the walls.
I'm just a mess. You know what I want?
How did this video turn into this?
I said bigger fisk to fry and the timeline
crumbled
diverged.
you. It snowballed, and I'm so sorry. That joke. I don't know what happened.
It's not even joke. It's not good. And I've like, as an adult, I've had to remind myself, like, once the conversation moves on, you have to move on with it. And even if you have a point or like a bit that you want to do on top of it, after 5 seconds goes by, you have to let go of your bit and you can't force it back to the conversation. And I did the opposite.
You didn't. We're still talking about Fizz.
No, I should have jumped it right on it, and I missed the window, and I blew it.
Those improv classes are fucking you up right now.
I need to take improv classes again. You know, you get rusty.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway, what I like about the idea of just doing 9 episodes, no filler, is that like the street level of Marvel, of the MCU, should feel like everyone is hanging out in New York. And that's what's great about no matter what Marvel comic you're reading, whether it's Ms. Marvel or whether it's Miles Morales or whoever it is, like everyone else is just like a couple blocks away. And that's what X-Men 97 has felt like. And that's what Daredevil Born Again should feel like. We don't have to have whole episodes that deal with all these other characters, but we should it should feel like anyone could show up. And what was shitty about the Netflix run and whenever they tried to do this is because it was Marvel TV, we knew that we were never actually going to see Robert Downey Jr. or any of the other Avengers. Yeah. But now we can. Now it's possible that like someone else does actually show up.
I agree, but I only want it to the extent of how X-Men 97 is. Like clearly once they're getting into like political and it's the government, but also the US president, that makes sense for the Avengers to be there because they're under that payroll. But I don't want Bucky just coming out of nowhere. I agree. I don't want Shuri just running through all of a sudden. That would be insane. So
where she's pulling down everyone's masks and she's like, "Don't get the vaccine."
Oh God. She's like, "You don't know what's in there. I'm just questioning it. I just share things that question." She's like, "Yeah, I've gotten the chicken pox shot, but I refuse to get the others." Sorry.
Crazy?
It makes me very upset when she did that.
I can't wait for the trailer for Daredevil Born Again. I think like Marvel's doing it right. We also know that Daredevil Born Again is going to be March 2025. And I'm so glad they are keeping Ironheart on the schedule. I was so worried that they were going to cancel Ironheart.
God bless. They gave my 3. Those are my, and I wasn't joking when I was on the break room. Those are my 3 tops like right now that we're knowingly doing. I was like, these are my 3. I was like, I just need Daredevil immediately, but I also want Agatha, and I'm very happy that I got a conclusion a little bit to Ironheart. I think you mentioned this also at work that like they announced those dates because then the next day didn't they also observe that they're gonna like slow down on some content, but it was like so strategically good to be like, here's the dates. Yep. It's coming. Don't yell at me. And then the next day be like, we're getting rid of something.
We're gonna kill some of these babies.
Because we even had an episode of Sneak Peek where we had to guess what they're killing. And I was like, I'm gonna murder them if they get rid of Ironheart. I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, I'm not gonna keep talking about this franchise if they keep doing this.
I think my heart would be broken too because that's the one title or one hope for Mephisto at this point. Or there's like some reporting
You're like, please.
that Sacha Baron Cohen was cast as Mephisto for the show for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but he might be in the show as Mephisto. And if they cancel it, we're never getting Mephisto.
To be fair, the casting for Marvel things are so crazy nowadays. At first I was like, oh, this makes sense. This like, these people like Chris Evans has been a superhero before in other properties. I was like, this makes sense. Now that we're getting like Natasha Lyonne, I was like, okay, we're getting a little crazy now.
I mean, the cast for the Fantastic Four is just, it's like when we kept seeing casting confirmations for Oppenheimer and we're like, is everybody in
this movie? I think they're just like, but it's also funny because I know that we're kind of getting off track, but how many celebrities have been like, if you do a superhero movie, you're a little bitch. Like, I would never do that in my life. And then I'm like, look at these other really great talented actors that are not being weird like you and doing this job and are actually like happy about it. Florence Pugh is an amazing actress. Are you insane? Like, these people are still good actors. They just don't have your weird hierarchy. Sorry, Dashel. I have to apologize to Dashel because he told me that if I go into a Marvel movie, he'll disown me as a friend.
Well, and Dashiell is one of these movie stars who's like, I'm not gonna be it.
Dashiell is that movie star.
He is, and I'll be disappointed if Dashiell ever takes the job as Nova or whatever.
Dashiell, didn't you say that your stepdad was Quentin Tarantino? I'm sure there's one celebrity I kept trying to say Dashiell was related to, and people believed it. It wasn't Wes Anderson, but it was someone kind of like that.
Wes Anderson would be a good one because who knows
he
who
kind of
Wes
looks like
Anderson's
Wes
related
Anderson.
to.
Yeah,
He does kind of look
hair.
like Wes Anderson. It's the hair. Oh, man.
Sorry, Dashiell.
Let us know what you're most excited for. I honestly, now I feel like any day now we're going to hear that like Wonder Man, Vision Quest. I know that they've started work on these shows, but I feel like at any point Bob Iger's like, it's going to cost us another like $30 million to make this.
Vision Quest, if we put money on things that are going to get cut immediately, I think it's Vision Quest. I think out of all of them, Vision Quest will be the first one. The only reason I'm not saying Wonder Man yet is because they put too much money into shooting already. But then again, they also have to deal with the legalities of someone dying on set also not long ago. So,
all right, looking ahead to this week on New Rockstars, now that X-Men 97 is done, we're just kind of in this waiting period between now and June where everything's going to be happening. But for right now, we will have a breakdown of Furiosa. I'm seeing it tomorrow night, and that movie is, I'm so excited for it. That breakdown will be coming out, I believe, Saturday. We'll also probably have some more Deadpool theories because I'm like obsessed with trying to figure out what's happening in that movie and who's all gonna be in it. But go watch my like Welcome to Wrexham analysis of like everyone is in the background of Welcome to Wrexham, and I think I know who's now gonna be in the movie because of that.
It's a good track. And it also makes sense. It's sound.
Did you call one of my videos a track? That makes me feel so cool.
What?
You
like
said it's a good track. Like,
oh no, I said it tracks like the record.
I thought you said, man, that's a good track. Like I'm a musician. Like I'm an actual rock star.
I'm not a young person. I don't know how to use lingo anymore. I realize, did you know that there's such a thing as the millennial peace sign? I also think young people nowadays are just calling anything millennial X just to offend us now.
Wait, hold on. What is the millennial peace sign?
It's like, okay, so a girl will do the millennial peace sign like this. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I do end every video on Break Room and everything like this. Guys do this.
I'm not doing any symbols right now because they'll use it against me somehow. They will use it against me.
Not this way?
Let's talk about New Rockstars' plan for June, because I don't know if you know this, but June is going to be a massive month.
It's going to be hard.
For streaming content. We have The Acolyte coming June 5th, The Boys Season 4 coming June 13th, and then we have House of the Dragon Season 2 coming June 16th. So how will New Rockstars be covering this? Well, we will have breakdowns and after shows for each of these shows. For The Acolyte, we're just going to be covering the premiere. We may be covering it every week for the break room for after shows, but either way, there will be Easter egg breakdowns on the main channel for every episode of The Acolyte starting June 5th. And I believe there will be 2 episodes in that premiere. And you'll see me go through all of that, try to do some reading up on the High Republic era of Star Wars fiction. But I'm very excited for that show. Brandon and I are going to be doing like the after show for episodes 1 and 2 on the break room. And we'll see if we'll do weekly after shows. But The Boys is starting June 13th. And you're going to see Jessica and Brandon and some other guests, maybe me, maybe some other familiar faces for weekly after shows on the break room for The Boys starting June 13th. But then Jessica will be doing the Easter egg breakdowns for every episode of The Boys on this channel on New Rockstars. And then House of the Dragon is coming out a few days later, June 16th. There will be after shows with Brandon and with Jessica and maybe some familiar faces, some other guests, maybe me, some other people you may know, on the break room on Mondays. But then the Easter egg breakdowns will be hosted by yours truly here on the main New Rockstars channel. And those videos will either come out on Mondays or Tuesdays. We're seeing if we can get like advanced screeners for each of these episodes, but we don't really know. So those will probably be out on Tuesdays. But what's fun about The Boys is we will have screeners for that. So that means that each Easter egg breakdown will come out on release day. In the morning or as soon as the episode goes live, you'll have our after shows on the break room. And then later in the day, you'll have Jessica's Easter egg breakdown for The Boys Season 4. Of those 3 that I mentioned, The Acolyte, The Boys, and House of the Dragon, Jess, which series are you most excited for coming out in June?
You already know. The Boys.
The Boys.
It's The Boys. But
Let's hear it for The Boys.
Let's hear it for The Boys. Give them a chance. Yeah, House of the Dragon ain't got music like that. It's only got babies crying because of a lot of reasons. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The worst part about my excitement for House of the Dragon, which is the most horrible thing I'm ever going to say on camera, and the digital is forever. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that Blood and Cheese episode.
I'm not looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be episode 1 too.
I'm watching it also to see at what degree HBO lets them get away with. The first episode of this first season was so atrocious. Yeah, that was the first episode. Disgusting. Horrible.
Season 1? Yeah, that alone was pretty violent.
Horrible. The degree of what HBO will let Game of Thrones get away with, this is different. And I'm like, I don't think you guys are gonna go as hard as I hope. Or not hope. I don't want you to go hard. I don't want you to do hard at all. I want to see how disgusting you guys will go in this first episode. And if it's insane, I might be like, I'm put off from this entire show. I'm put off from this entire series.
I'm really worried about it because like
I'm just interested
there's
in
people in the comments who are gonna be like, you wusses, come on.
I am a wuss. I'm 100% a wuss for this. This is disgusting. It's gonna be horrible.
It's just like Game of Thrones became such a hit for HBO, and House of the Dragon is continuing that for them, that I think they're letting it get away with just like giving us the worst of the worst and the most traumatic of the traumatic. And like they are now kind of normalizing things like incest and seeing like just rape on screen and rape as a plot point and like sexual assault as a plot point and child murder as a plot point. And it's like
House of the Dragon sped that shit up so quick. Game of Thrones, it took like a while. And also it was like stretched out over the show. The House of the Dragon did it within the first like 2 episodes. Everything that you just said. And I was like, oh, all right. That my curiosity is just in how production, how writing, how they're going to actually handle it, because it's such a horrible thing to happen.
And look, you know, I know the history of television and in filmmaking, sexual assault has been a plot point in all kinds of fiction, from To Kill a Mockingbird to The Sopranos. What I'm talking about is that it shouldn't be used as character development or as just like table dressing or set dressing or just spectacle. And that's what like Game of Thrones season 5 did really poorly with Sansa's rape. And I don't know if they've really learned those lessons with House of the Dragon. They have not proven to me that they realized what they did was wrong on Game of Thrones. All right, we're going to end this episode of the Sneak Peek with what we're watching. Jessica, what were you watching this week?
Other than Dance Moms, because my TV's kind of stuck on it. Like I said last week, I actually have been reading. I've been catching up on my reading, which I'm more excited about because I need to turn off Dance Moms. Those moms are lunatics. How did we let that show thrive? How did we let that show go? How do we let a grown woman scream at a 10-year-old till she's crying like that? And I don't understand. Regardless, I've been reading, and I've been trying to read a little bit of Dune every day.
Oh, good.
Because I love Dune. And I just bought the Fire and Blood book. So wish me well over there. I read a little bit of it on my iPad, and then I was like, I can't do this on my iPad. I need a physical book so I can put sticky notes on it so I don't forget that, everyone has the same name, but one's the 3rd and one's the 5th, and this is alleged, and this is real. So I'm just reading right now. What are you watching?
No, we've talked before. We just finished Baby Reindeer last night. We don't need to talk about it. But I just wanted to watch it so I could make sense of that weird Piers Morgan interview with a woman who
now suing for like $1 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to sue for.
It's a really, really good show, but very upsetting. Very upsetting show. And then I rewatched James Cameron's The Abyss.
Oh! I love The Abyss.
It's such a crazy movie, but I love it.
The last like 15 minutes
absolutely insane.
It's just insanity.
And it's one of these movies that changes the most from its director's cut. I mean, this is before James Cameron got Final Cut. I mean, since he made Titanic, that man can do whatever he wants in movies.
He does whatever he wants.
Whatever he wants. But back with The Abyss, like the theatrical cut removes like the global political conflict. All you really see is just like a hint that like Russian ships are moving around because of like this nuclear sub or something like that. But in the director's cut, like a tidal wave pauses in front of all these different world cities.
Hell yeah,
and they remove that from the theatrical cut. It completely changes the stakes of the movie, knowing that that's happening.
That scene was so wild. I watched that on a big screen, and the director's cut, and it was so fun.
Oh, fun.
It was so fun. I went to Beyond Fest, and that's why I saw it with the Q&A afterwards with James Cameron,
cool.
which was
cool.
it was insane. I bought that ticket so quick because I was like, I want to hear what this crazy man has to say about this movie.
Nuts. He's nuts. Okay, so you saw The Abyss with a Q&A from James Cameron post submersible.
Yes, he didn't bring it up, thank God, like he did on Twitter. He immediately said, here's why you guys died. But he is exactly who you think he is. I will say that. Like, when I saw him in a live Q&A, he, like, jokes, doesn't really give a crap about what he is. He was like, I'm just interested in water. He was, like, talking about how much he likes water.
He loves water. He loves it. Every movie, they go into the water. Yeah. Someone has to swim. He has to get an underwater shot. It's
and
crazy
he did do that for the movie. The Abyss had a lot behind the scenes that was also just messing up. People were getting punched in the head. People were almost dying, drowning. People were getting pissed. Like, it was a
Michael
bad
Biehn was like, they were gradually bringing me up through the tank, and then all lights cut out, and I was just in pitch blackness underwater, and I thought I was going to die for 13 minutes.
Yeah, it was like,
oh my God.
It was also, it's just, of course, it's James Cameron. So he's like, no, you guys get in that water. I don't care if we have it ready or not. I don't care how cold it is.
Like, back in 1988 or whatever they shot, it came out in 89, so they were shooting in like 87, 88. No one shot movies like that. There was no like he's like, we have to find a tank somewhere. And they're like, why don't you just like build a set? He's like, no, it will be underwater.
It's going underwater. He said, all of this is practical. Doesn't need to be.
No reason.
It's literally an alien water blob that shoots through everything. No one's going to be like, you know what? I needed this to be practical. The Abyss is so fun. Abyss is a very fun movie to revisit.
It is such it's wild to be like in the late 80s. People were like, what is James Cameron doing? Why is he doing
my
that?
My mom loved that movie when it came out. My mom was like, we were all in line ready to see that movie. My mom was like, we were all ready getting our tickets. Like, she loves that movie.
And I just love that in 1989, you could go see James Cameron's Abyss and you could see The Little Mermaid. So it was just like a theme. Like, there was a lot of dolphin girls, I feel like, in the late 80s who were just eating good.
I should have asked him that question in the Q&A. I should have been like, did you ever think about doing The Little Mermaid?
Excuse me, I'm a dolphin girl. And
are you a dolphin boy?
No, I'm not a dolphin boy. But my sister, growing up, was allowed to theme her bedroom and went through a horse phase, and then she went through a dolphin phase. So she was able. And then when my sister went to college, my mom was like, or I asked my mom, like, can I theme my room now? Because I want to do like a Spider-Man themed room. And then my mom's like, no, we need your guest bedroom. We need your room as a guest bedroom. So you're not allowed to put up any posters. So when I was in high school and middle school, I'm the youngest. So I had a nice bedroom, but like, I wasn't allowed to put up anything. I had to sleep like in a hotel room.
That's so funny to me. All of my posters were posters that I got from like the book fair. So it was cool. So it was like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but as a poster.
Cool.
They were all like,
loved that. I would have loved an Aslan
poster. My mom
poster.
didn't use my room as a guest room. My mom actually let me use my room.
Your mom was like, oh, I have a daughter and I'm going to let her be a kid. But no, my parents were like, we had 5 kids and we're ready to start having friends and relatives stay with us.
That's so funny.
We didn't mean to have you.
That is hilarious. Also, I don't know why young girls, they always go through a horse or a dolphin phase or both. My mom thought I went through a horse phase. I'm allergic and terrified of horses, just so you guys know. And my mom thought I liked horses. And so in 2003, she got me only horse Christmas gifts. And when people would come over, they'd be like, oh, I also like horses. And I was like, I'm terrified of them.
Whales are wolves that fell into the water and dolphins are horses that fell in the water.
Oh, that makes sense now.
I don't know if that's true. I think I just made that up.
No, that evolution makes sense for that.
Yeah, horse is just like,
wait, why is a whale a wolf?
A whale equals wolf. I don't know. I think they share a common ancestor.
Well, they travel in packs and they both attack ships. They both attack yachts.
And they both howl. But
yeah,
like a whale's call is like a howl underwater. Like, oh.
That's true. Who's the Tillamook of wolves? There's probably one of those that exists. That's a good howl. That's a good orca howl.
Things are falling apart on the
They are. It started with the spit
there,
and it started with you in your hair.
It doesn't look like spit anymore. Maybe I can just spit all over it and they'll be like stars.
Or you can untape it, roll it down some more.
I don't want to do that.
We'll send Dashiell to San Francisco real quick.
Can you drive 6.5 hours, please?
Oh my God.
We'll leave it there for this episode of The Sneak Peek. Comment down below with your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again and Marvel's upcoming slate and which of these titles you want to kill. And should Secret Invasion have been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 8?
Yeah, it should have.
Follow me, Eddie A. Voss. Follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow the new Rockstars Network. All 3 channels for, it's just some really great nerd insights.
Get that out of your mouth. Get that out of your mouth. Get that out of your mouth.
I have an oral fixation. That's why I bite my nails.
Oh my goodness.
And then follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. I think I already said that.
You said that.
Thank you everyone for watching. Follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. But only on Twitter. Nowhere else.
Nowhere else. Do not look for me.
We'll see everyone next week. Bye.
Bye.